So come in here, Marie. Okay, look. So this is from my general counsel grew up in the Beltway. She loves the president, as you can tell, because this is a toilet cleaner. Look at the diversity and the love, okay? Take a picture of me and Marie with the...
You were fired as the White House Communications Director after 11 days 2 years ago.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So why are you always on TV? Why are you always in the news?
Why are you here?
This is what I want to know. Why am I here to talk to you?
I don't know. You called up and said you wanted to be here. I said, come on in. If someone invites me on TV, Gore Vidal had a great line. The offer to be on television is like the offer to have sex. One should never say no to those two options.
Okay,
and so you're going to invite me on TV. I'm going to give you my opinion. I did work for the president for a year. I was on as a transition team for 12 weeks, and I was on television before I was the White House Communications Director. I anchored Wall Street Week for the Fox Business Channel, and prior to that, I was a CNBC contributor. So what Washington does is they build you a shame box, and they try to shame and humiliate you, and then they want to stick you in the shame box and put a dunce cap on your head, and they don't want to ever hear from you again. That's not me. That's not my personality. And so why would I do that?
Do you ever feel shame?
Why should I?
Well, you say that people were shaming you. Is that for being fired, or is that for being part of a Trump administration?
When I'm going through a divorce with my wife and I've done things that are regrettable, I'm ashamed of that, and I want to fix that and make that better. But if I'm working for the president and I'm loyal to his agenda, I don't feel any shame related to that. If you don't like the president and you want me to feel shame, get over yourself, okay? It's like if I join the NFL and I'm on an NFL field and somebody hits me in the secondary, gives me a concussion, I can't go and complain that I got a concussion. I got a picture of me and John Kelly in my office, right? He fired me in the White House. That's a symbolic picture.
Do you think President Trump has a similar philosophy?
Well, he doesn't care what anybody thinks. I mean, he has the thickest skin on the planet. Like, when somebody tells me that the president has thin skin, I'm like, laugh. I mean, he doesn't have his thin skin. He just doesn't like people taking shots at him. You know, it's different.
But that's having thin skin, though.
No, that's like, okay, you're gonna take a shot at me. Let me hit you 10 times to let you know how it feels, and then maybe you'll stop hitting me.
How will history be remembering the Trump years?
There was a systemic failure in a bipartisan way in the American establishment that allowed for the window of opportunity to a non-establishment figure like President Trump to ascend to the presidency. History will then say, did that work favorably for the United States or disfavorably? I don't know the answer to that. I'm praying, because I have 5 children, and hopefully they'll go on to have children, that it'll work favorably for the United States. I think the establishment's been a disaster. $18 trillion of debt in 35 years, killed 1 million people in the Middle East, 70,000 servicemen wounded, men and women wounded, 7,000 servicemen and women killed, 22 dying a day from PTSD, perpetual war cycle, unmitigated disaster, failed infrastructure policy, K through 12, public education, abject failure. We could fix every one of these problems if we had a 25 to 50 year bipartisan committed plan, but we don't. We have a 2-minute, let's hit each other in the face on cable news. You want to talk about woke? I hope they wake up and they say, hey, this has been a disaster. We suck. We should really try to fix this thing, and we should try to fix it in a bipartisan way.
Are you convinced in your heart of hearts that Trump is really outside of the establishment that you talk about and that you critique? Because he is also this elite American from New York City, and he is someone who's surrounded himself with similar people.
Hold on, Hannah. I'm a big-time elitist. Okay, so I'm not...
I literally had a question, are you an elitist?
I'm a mega elitist to the 92nd power.
Do you think Trump is outside of that, or is he just good at talking to it?
No, I think Trump straddles that. I think one of the reasons why most populists get defeated, if you look at William Jennings Bryant or Huey Long, these guys get defeated because they're not connected into the establishment. And Trump, like him or dislike him, because he was very wealthy. I mean, if you look at his apartment, it looks like Louis XIV smoked crystal meth and decorated it, right? I mean, so he's living in this elitist apartment, but he was able to tap into those people. He's a member of the elite, but he had a group of people in the blue-collar community that felt that he was an advocate for them.
I'm not trying to pin you down. You've worked for Democrats and Republicans.
For Obama, I bundled for the president.
Yeah.
I like him.
Is that a product of being sort of politically fluid, or are you an opportunist?
I'm both.
A fluid opportunist?
I'm a flexible opportunist. Yeah. You younger generation, don't be offended. Like, the word opportunism to you guys is like a misnomer or a bad word or a pejorative. It's not to me. I want you to be an opportunist in your career and in your life. When you guys say opportunist, you're thinking of zero-sum game where you're doing something transparently to edge yourself ahead.
I just said a word and you're defining it.
No, I'm defining it the way you guys think about it. I don't think about it that way. The way I think about it is, of course, I'm an opportunist. I want to win for my family, and I want to win for my teammates.
What do you make of the current Democratic field of presidential candidates?
I like Tulsi Gabbard a lot,
Really?
actually. Yeah, I think she's great. She came to my conference. She had the balls, or the ovaries to show up at my conference, and I like what she talks. Her anti-war rhetoric is dead on. I would vote for Trump versus her, but I think she has a rising star. She has a very big future.
Would you work in her administration?
I don't know. It would depend on the job, and it would depend. I wouldn't work for her as communications director. I'm not well.
I heard you have some experience. Does truth matter?
Totally matters. Totally matters. I mean, that's why you're probably here. I tell the truth. What if I help? I don't.
Do you think Trump tells the truth?
No, of course not. But he likes lighting you guys up, though, too, right? You know, like that's part of his move, right? I was on Bill Maher trying to explain his move, and Bill kept shutting me up. And then the president called me and said, "Don't give up my secret." He wants everybody in the liberal press to sound like Charlie Brown's teacher. You follow? Like he wants them hair on fire every night, counting up all the lies that he's told. Because he knows the base doesn't like those people. And so they like seeing those people triggered. You see what I'm saying? I don't like it. I've always said this, and I will continue to say this. The press is not the enemy of the people. What the president is doing, I think there's some phenomenal things that he's doing, creating growth. He took the slack out of the labor market. Wages are up. African American, Hispanic American unemployment are way down. So many positive things he's doing. So what he's doing, A+. How he's doing it, come on, man, it's like a C+. My point being is that if he was like more presidential, less kookoo lala on Twitter and stuff like that, he would be in the mid-50s. That's really holding him back. That's my honest opinion.
All right. Well, thank you for
Hannah, you're good at your job. I hope I triggered you at some point.
I'm going to cry in a safe space. I hope I triggered you at some
point in the conversation.
So you seem disappointed that you didn't.
No.
You love your skincare.
Well, that's the sign of it. Yeah, you gotta stay hydrated, by the way, okay? You gotta drink a lot of water, and there's like very good hydration masks that I could recommend to you when the interview's over, okay?